Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at President Donald Trump's approval rating in every single state nationwide. This accounts for roughly 105,000 people, registered voters, covering from January 2025 all the way through May 19, today of this year. But before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed with the bell so you don't miss my content. Press the like button, share this video. Don't forget we have memberships. If you're interested, you can find links in the description section. So we're going to be filling out the basically every single state. Approved will be filled in green for that state. Disapproved will be filled in red. So let's begin filling out every state. Obviously, some were already filled out. Those were just some, districts. So let's begin. Starting off with the West Coast, Washington State. He's underwater by net negative 39, nearly 40 points underwater in the state of Washington. And this makes him, Washington actually, I think, might be the most state that he's disapproved out of all of them. Actually, top three. California, obviously, will be his most disapproved state, but he's severely disapproved of in the West Coast. Probably the West Coast is his worst area in which he is performing in, aside from the East Coast, obviously. But as for Oregon, underwater by net negative 38 points. So practically the same thing. And California, as I stated, that I just stated, underwater by a net negative 42, the most out of any other state, aside from Vermont, which is a net negative 56%. So Donald Trump's disapproved of the most out of any other state in the states of Vermont, negative 56 points. So that is outrageous. And now as for the next state is going to be Alaska, which is a red state, obviously. Negative approval rating of 11 points underwater. He's also disapproved of in the state of Alaska, obviously by not as much as the West Coast, just by negative 11. And then as for Nevada, you take a look at this swing state that he indeed won in 2024 by 3 points. He's underwater by net negative 19 points in the swing states that he won of Nevada. A state that he won and he's underwater by nearly net negative 20 points. That is not good news for someone like Donald Trump. And this doesn't really matter for him specifically him, because he's not up for re-election in 2028. He's term limited. He cannot run. Now there is speculation, rumors that, maybe he's just trolling people that he wants to run in 2028. That's probably not going to happen, but, you never know. Donald Trump is very unpredictable. So Nevada, he's very disapproved of in that state. Idaho, he is approved of, so this will be the first state that we will be feeling in green. Donald Trump is approved by 13% in the state of Idaho, so that's pretty good numbers for him. That's a red state he better be approved of. Utah is actually concerning. He's only approved of in this state by 2 points. This is a red state that is now trending blue. You can take a look at demographic shifts ever since the 2024 election. Utah is shifting towards the left. We saw, I believe, in the 2025 off-year elections where it was shifting more blue. So that's not good for him. He's still approved of in Utah, but is getting very close to being actually underwater in that state. Arizona is a state he won by 5 points, winning it the most out of the 3 times he ran, even overperforming 2016. In the state of Arizona, he's underwater by net negative 11 percentage points in this state. Not as bad as Nevada. I'm not sure why he would be so more disapproved of in the state of Nevada rather than Arizona. I would expect it to actually be the opposite. New Mexico, underwater by a tremendous amount, negative 30. Colorado, same thing, negative 30 for both of those states. You have Wyoming and Montana. Let's fill these out a little bit quicker. He's approved of by 4. Wyoming is approved of by 24. It's obviously the reddest state, which is why he's the most approved of in the state of Wyoming. And then, those are approved of. I don't know why I was filling in those red. They should be filled in green. And then the state of Texas, a state that he won, mind you, by double digits, 13 percentage points, overperforming any Republican in the state of Texas with their margin in a very long time. Now it's looking like James Talarico could possibly win, which is in line with his approval rating in the state of Texas being underwater by a net negative, almost double digits, 9 underwater. So he's disapproved of in the state of Texas. This is a state he won by 13 points, and he is disapproved of by nearly double digits in the state of Texas. That is not good news if you are a Republican running in the 2026 midterms, and if you are running for president as a Republican in the year of 2028. Him being disapproved of in a state that he won by 13 is not good news for Donald Trump or any Republican in general. He's approved of in Oklahoma and in Kansas, as he should be. He better be. Those are both red states. Nebraska, he's narrowly disapproved of. Donald Trump is disapproved of in the state of Nebraska. That goes to show you how much of a disastrous administration has turned out to be. He's losing people of his own base. He's disapproved of in the state of Nebraska. When would you think that Donald Trump would be disapproved of in a state like Nebraska? I wouldn't think that. Now, as for both Dakotas, South and North, he's approved of by 8 and 12. So he's actually disapproved of in some of these ruby red states, which is completely shocking. Now, as for Hawaii and Louisiana, he's disapproved of by a staggering negative 58 points in the state of Hawaii. Actually, that's more than Vermont. Donald Trump, his worst state that he's performing in happens to be Hawaii. That's insane. As for Louisiana, he's underwater in this state as well in terms of approval. Majority of Louisianans only, actually they disapprove of him by 1. So he's also disapproved in that red state as well. So red means disapproved, green means approved. So don't get it mixed up thinking red means Republican. Not in this video. And then it's a little different in this video. Arkansas, Missouri, Donald Trump is approved of by nearly double digits in the state of Arkansas. And in Missouri, it's a complete tie at this point. Since it's a tie, I'm going to, be generous towards Donald Trump and say he's barely approved of in that state. As for Iowa and Minnesota, Donald Trump is disapproved of in Iowa, which is a state that he won by double digits. -9 underwater in that red state. Horrendous for the Trump administration. Minnesota underwater by net negative 26 points. So yet again, underwater in another safe Republican state. That is not good news if you're Donald Trump or any Republican. Mississippi and Alabama, moving on to the deep south. He is approved of narrowly in Mississippi by just 3 points. In Alabama, he's approved of by even more, 12 percentage points. So that's a little good for him. Doesn't really matter, though. Those are red states, and he's underwater in a lot of red states. That's the truth. In Georgia, he's underwater by a net negative 20 points, which, is not that surprising. It is Georgia, which is shifting towards the left. As for Florida, his own home state, he won by double digits, similar to Texas's margin. He's underwater in this state, his own home state. He's underwater by net negative 12 percentage points. This is what I'm talking about, in which you don't want to be a Republican running in 2026. You might be scared that you could lose because you have Donald Trump losing his own home state in terms of approval rating. That is embarrassing. He is disapproved of in his own home state of Florida. Could you believe it? South Carolina. Hopefully he's not disapproved of in South Carolina. And it looks like Donald Trump is, and in fact he is disapproved of once again in another solid red state. South Carolina, Donald Trump is disapproved of underwater by net negative 4 percentage points. I jinxed myself. That is insane. Let me know if you're surprised by any of these states in the comment section down below. Tennessee, he's barely approved of by 6% in this state. Kentucky, North Carolina, and Virginia, he is underwater in the state of Kentucky by net negative 1 point. That's insane. Virginia, he's obviously underwater by net negative 25 points. And North Carolina, this is a state he won by 3 points. He's underwater by net negative 14 percentage points. He's underwater in all of those states. Illinois, Donald Trump is underwater by negative 32%. Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia, Donald Trump is barely approved of in the state of Indiana by 4 points. Donald Trump is disapproved of in a state that he won by double digits, Ohio. He's underwater by negative 12 points. West Virginia, one of the safest Republican states, he is approved of by 18 points. So he's disapproved of in Indiana, I believe. Actually, let me go back. He's approved of. Okay. So he's approved of in the state of Indiana, but he's disapproved of in Ohio, and he's obviously approved of in the state of West Virginia. This is the map so far. We have yet to touch the Rust Belt, which we will be doing so now. And then we have the Northeast to end off this video. Wisconsin. This is a state that he narrowly won. It was the bluest Rust Belt state of the three in 2024. So to be fair, it is expected he will be disapproved of by negative 14 percentage points underwater. As for Michigan, he is disapproved of by nearly 20 points underwater, negative 19 in this state. And out of Pennsylvania, the reddest Rust Belt state of the three, he won by a net negative. He's actually disapproved of by negative 13 points underwater. So he is performing the worst in Michigan than out of all the three Rust Belt states. He promised the Arab voters, he would make a successful ceasefire, or he would bring an end to the war in Israel or whatever. That obviously failed. It was a disaster. So that's to be expected. Out of the state of New York, Donald Trump is disapproved of by a net negative 37 percentage points. New Jersey, he is disapproved of by net negative 33 percentage points. The rest of these states, he's going to be disapproved of tremendously. We have two more before we end off this video. New Hampshire and Maine, he is disapproved of by negative 30 in the state of New Hampshire, the state that Harris won by 3 points. Maine, he's disapproved of by negative 28 percentage points. So, the green is where Donald Trump is approved of in the nation, and the red is where he is disapproved of. You can see a trend. There's a lot of red states, safe, solid red states, that have Donald Trump disapproved of. I can name a great amount of them. Nebraska, a state that is solid red, and they disapprove of the president, Donald Trump. Kentucky, they disapprove of Trump. Another red state, Ohio, disapprove of Trump. South Carolina, another red state, disapprove of Trump. Louisiana, another red state, disapprove of Trump. Alaska, another red state, once again disapproved of Donald Trump. You can go on the list. You can even include the swing states that he won. North Carolina, etc. Nevada. And this is just embarrassing. Arizona, obviously, he is disapproved of in this state. I accidentally filled that in green. It should be red. So, and Utah, I do want to go back to this state. He's barely approved of. Yeah, he's almost underwater in that state as well. He's being saved right now. Missouri, it's a tie. I was being generous and I filled it out green for him because I can't quite say he's disapproved of just yet. So you can add Missouri and Utah to the list. They are on the brink of disapproving of the president. So this is what the map would actually be. So let me know which state surprised you the most in the comment section down below. I would definitely say Louisiana surprised me the most, Kentucky especially, out of these states. One last final reminder is to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss out on my content. Press the like button to share this video. Don't forget we have memberships if you're interested. You can find links that in the description section. Thank you everyone for watching.